Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Michelle Pearlstein. I'm the Development Director here at the JCC of Northern Virginia. NV Rides is a program of the J, and we are so thrilled to have so many partners and supporters joining us here today. We are honored to have NV Rides recognized by the Commonwealth Council on Aging's Best Practices Awards Committee, CCOA. The acronyms are so much easier, so you'll please bear with me. And welcome Committee Chair Jennifer DeSano here with us today. We would also like to welcome representatives from the Virginia Department for Aging and Rehabilitative Services, DARS, Deputy Commissioner Marcia Dubois, and Policy Analyst Charlotte Arbogast. Thank you for your dedication to ensuring our community is able to meet the opportunities and challenges of serving a growing aging population. I would like to recognize Susan Crystal, the POSE's JCC Board President, and Amy Brinko, representing our executive staff. Your participation today demonstrates the J's commitment to helping each person live their lives fully and is much appreciated. Also, thank you to Sarah Fott for joining us today, representing our closest partner, the Jewish Council for the Aging, JCA, and to Susan Zellman, representing our partners in Fairfax County. Normally, Jeff Danick, our executive director, would be welcoming you all here today to this special event. Unfortunately, there was a death in his family, and he is not able to be here. So you can consider me a stand-in for that. I know he is upset to have missed this opportunity, as NV Rides really holds a special place in his heart. In 2013, not long after Jeff moved to this community and started at the JCC, representatives of Fairfax County's Long-Term Care Coordinating Council, LTCCC, approached him with an innovative idea to initiate a program that would create a coordinated hub for volunteer transportation and to assist non-driving adults aged 55 and over in our community. The purpose of the program would be to streamline already existing volunteer programs and to fill in the gaps of service by helping to create new programs. The J saw this as a special opportunity to partner with the county in providing a service that was not only consistent with its own values, but also with the services already offered to adults aging in place. The J approached the JCA, the Jewish Council for the Aging, whose expertise is in senior transportation, to partner on this important initiative. In the fall of 2013, a steering committee was formed to discuss these needs and to see if this idea of a hub-based approach was feasible in our community. The J and JCA brought together a range of stakeholders from local government, nonprofits, existing rides programs, and faith communities. Those early conversations led to the establishment of NV Rides in 2014, with the objectives to increase capacity for volunteer driver programs, streamline already existing driver programs, and increase awareness for volunteer driver programs as an option for transportation in the community. Since then, like any program, NV Rides has grown and evolved. We are grateful for the dedicated staff and volunteers who have developed an agile program upon a solid foundation. In a few moments, our NV Ride manager, Emily Braley, will share some of our current data and statistics that quantifies the impact of NV Rides, the impact that the NV Rides network collectively makes in Northern Virginia. Our combined reach is truly impressive, but there are a lot more benefits that are harder to quantify and make NV Rides more than just a ride. Number one, building community. The POSE's JCC's mission is to build community and to enrich people's lives. The NV Rides program brings together human services agencies, community centers, local government, faith communities, villages, nonprofit organizations, all to collaborate for the betterment of our shared community and its residents. Those collaborations enhance the social safety net of our community, both by addressing gaps in service and by building goodwill between community groups who might not otherwise interact. Number two, aging in place. Each year, more than 1 million Americans over the age of 70 stop driving due to age-related challenges and become dependent on others to meet their transportation needs. Fairfax County recognizes transportation can be a significant barrier for seniors, wishing to age in place and supports innovative efforts to provide a full spectrum of opportunities for community members. The COVID pandemic underscored the social isolation that seniors in our community face and how that can negatively impact their physical and mental well-being. Our advisory council ensures that the NV Rides program is always forward-facing and ready to meet the new challenges of our evolving community. Finally, NV Rides helps our partners who have limited resources continue to administer their programs. As many of the people in this room know, most of our driving programs operate without paid staff, so any resources that we are able to provide takes the burden off of those programs and allows them to focus in other areas. In addition, our partner meetings that we hold periodically throughout the year are opportunities to network and share best practices and create common bonds. So as you can see, we take such great pride in the impact that NV Rides has both in our community on so many levels. That's why this recognition from CCOA today is so meaningful. Thank you again for making the time to be here. I would like to introduce Jennifer DeSano, CCOA Best Practices Award Committee.
Thank you, Michelle. Oh, thank you. I'm so pleased to be here, and this is my my neighborhood. So I live here in Fairfax County, and I'm also a big fan of the JCC. And in my professional work as the executive director of the Osher Lifelong Learning Institute, we've had a few opportunities over the years to share some wonderful collaborative programming. So I'm glad to be here and in this wonderful space. And congratulations on your recent renovations. The Commonwealth Council on Aging Best Practices Awards Committee is pleased to present NV Rides with the 2022 First Place Best Practices Award. Each year, the Commonwealth Council on Aging hosts the Best Practices Award to acknowledge organizations whose innovative programs can be replicated across the Commonwealth. Established in 2006, the Best Practices Award recognizes and encourages the replication of model programs, particularly those that foster aging in place, livable communities, and home and community-based services. Since 2012, Dominion Energy proudly provided financial support for the winning programs that truly go above and beyond in service to their communities. The commitment and support of Dominion Energy for these awards allows the Council to recognize organizations with financial support for their dedication and work in advancing services for Virginians' elders. This year, on behalf of the Commonwealth Council on Aging, I am pleased to share that the applicants and winning programs in 2022 really spoke to the manner in which local organizations and area agencies on aging have stepped up to the plate to meet the needs of older adults during these difficult times. The Council received over 20 nominations, and the competition was tough. Organizations pivoted and got creative to help address the pressing issues of social isolation and social connectedness, transportation, person-centered care, access to healthy produce, and aging advocacy. During the review of the NV Rides program, the Best Practices Awards Committee was particularly moved by the measurable impact of the program in this community. In 2021, NV Rides served 926 seniors with a network of 506 drivers and more than 20,377 rides, deliveries, and visits. Since its inception, NV Rides has provided more than 60,000 rides and visits, and since the pandemic, NV Rides has pivoted by adding deliveries of essential items like groceries and medications. Providing important infrastructure and marketing support, NV Rides has been able to leverage the work of 15 partner organizations to support older adults aging in place through transportation. Transportation is one of the most commonly cited needs for older adults across the Commonwealth. The committee members appreciated NV Rides' efforts to respond to this important need. Members were particularly struck by the program's inclusion of bilingual drivers to serve diverse elders, as well as the focus on providing transportation that supports access to the community and not just medical appointments. NV Rides volunteers offer meaningful personal connections to clients. NV Rides has further innovated to adapt and meet the evolving needs of older adults during the pandemic by delivering essential items right to their doors when many felt unsafe venturing out on their own. This program is replicable, sustainable, and innovative. It truly meets the intent of the Council's Best Practice Awards. Today we celebrate NV Rides for their commitment to serving older adults in the Commonwealth. It is with great honor and admiration that we present them with the 2022 Best Practices First Place Award and an accompanying $5,000 for COVID companions. Thank you. And if I could have, you want to come up? And I'm happy to present this plaque on behalf of the Governor's Council on Aging.
Good afternoon. Yeah, it's been actually an honor and privilege and fun to have been involved in the NV Rides program from close to the beginning, where I helped Jennifer and her staff at some of their outreach efforts, talk about older driver safety, and now I'm also an occasional volunteer driver. So it's been interesting to see how it's grown. But when I think about the importance of transportation as we age, I'm reminded of a story about a neighbor who was working in his yard and was startled by a car that crashed through a hedge and landed in his lawn. And he went over, opened the door, and pulled out an elderly woman, and she was a little bit shaken, sat her down and said, "You appear to be quite elderly to drive." And she said, "Yes, I am. I'm 97 next month, and I'm now old enough that I don't even need a driver's license." So he said, who told you that? Well, she said, last time I went to the doctor, he examined me and asked if I had a driver's license. And I told him yes, and I showed it to him. Well, he took out some scissors from a drawer and cut it up. And he said, "You won't need this anymore." So I thanked him and left. By the way, anecdotally, thank you for laughing at that. Anecdotally, I mentioned this to a few people in the past. I've heard that some doctors find it harder to tell patients that they have to give up driving than that they have a cancer diagnosis. So this doctor with the scissors was beyond that one. But what I take away from this bit of humor is that we want to be able to drive as long as possible. The motivation, as we can imagine, is very strong. And we know the reasons why that's important to us. But the reasons for stopping driving are also understood to some degree, the main one being declining health. However, research has shown that the reverse is also true, meaning driving cessation may have adverse impacts on our subsequent health and well-being. And there is some little research on that I know about, maybe there's others, that among other things, when you stop drive, that could increase depressive symptoms. It's associated with a reduction of your social networks, leading to increased loneliness, which is a hot topic these days, given the pandemic and how that's added to the loneliness issue. And it accelerates cognitive decline. So to me, that shows the importance of these kinds of programs, like volunteer driving programs like NV Rides provides. And in an award-winning program like NV Rides, makes it easier and more effective to identify volunteers for this kind of effort, and it makes it easier for people like me who are volunteer drivers to use this easy-to-use software and to make a match between the people who want to volunteer and the people who need a ride. So, with that, I just want to congratulate NV Rides and the staff that started it, as well as Emily's excellent work in keeping it going. So, congratulations again.
Awesome. Thank you, Mike. He did a great job, and he really has the stories. He's been doing this way longer. So I'm Emily Braley. I started this job in November of 2021 after moving back here from about 10 years on the West Coast, but I'm from here. When I took this job, I was looking for something meaningful, community-facing. I didn't really know what it was, but it sounded interesting. And I just didn't know the joy and the connection and the community building that are part of this role. So thank you, everyone. As some of you all know, probably I grew up coming to this JCC. I've actually worked here in high school, and now I'm back. So it's been an honor to continue my career here. And working with everyone here and some people who aren't here has been just an honor and a pleasure. I'm so excited to celebrate this with you today. And I think this is the first time a lot of us have gotten together since March of 2020. So everybody, I've seen you on Zoom. It's fun to see you in real life. And I think you all know what Envy Rides is. It's been described, but just sort of to summarize, we're actually now 16 driving partners. We just had Fairfax Village in the city join us. So we even just added. We're in 4 counties: Arlington, Fairfax, Loudoun, and Prince William. So we just have really a lot of reach, I think, given what we do. We're very diverse. We have different geographic regions, faith communities, government organizations, and all of our programs provide no-cost rides to seniors, which sometimes people don't believe me when I tell them that because it's so amazing. We exclusively use volunteers, and a lot of you all have driven. You know what it's like. As a community, we weathered a pandemic and uncertainty, and even during the darkest, most uncertain days of the pandemic, people were still driving. When I look at some of the dates on the rides from 2020, you realize what people were willing to do during times when we really didn't know what COVID was. It's humbling, really, to see all the rides that were in April of 2020 and what people were doing. So for those of us who like numbers, I know I do, 2021 was a record year for us, and I only was here for about 2 months of it, so all credit to everyone who was here before me. But as we mentioned, we did 20,377 rides, visits, and deliveries. And 2022 is on track to continue this trend. We have record demand, as anyone can attest. I put some news stories. We've been in the news about our demand, and we're continuing to rise to the occasion. Going beyond numbers, we are such a source of kindness to our neighbors. As you can imagine, to the hundreds of seniors we serve, people tell us every day how essential we are. And I just received, so every year we do an annual survey on paper for our riders, and I do manual data entry. Our drivers do an email survey, and I just got some of them back, and I'm sure a lot of you have received it from me. So I just wanted to share some of the things about the incredible impact that we make and what some of our riders had to say about us. So somebody said, "I live by myself, and the volunteer rides are really important for me to meet people. I don't drive." Someone else says, "It helps me get outside, breathe fresh air, and communicate with others." Somebody else wrote, "I was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, and I was worried that since I can't drive, I can't see my doctors. When I found out about your volunteers, it reduced my stress. Bless you all." Others wrote that during the pandemic, access to groceries, socialization, and medical care were only possible with our volunteers. One writer said, "Until I found out about you, I was worried I'd have to move. I don't drive, and I needed groceries and to see doctors. I would be lonely. Thank you for your service." And there were hundreds more comments that are very similar to this. It's really more essential than I realized when I started this job. It's not just a ride, it's allowing people to live where they want to live, which is huge. The 2 words that always come to mind are joy and connection for people. And for both riders and drivers. And in a few hours a week, drivers really change our community. So thank you. And we talk about impact. We often share anecdotes, which was even part of this award application. And the one we used for this award I wanted to share, it was about somebody who needed cardiac rehab after a cardiac event, which you know is very essential to keep you out of the hospital. And it was during the height of the pandemic. There weren't enough volunteers. So my predecessors managed to get volunteers and the help of Fairfax County Transportation to get this person to cardiac rehab every week for 12 weeks. It's a huge lift, and we made it happen by engaging lots of community partners. So I have a lot of thank yous. There's a long list. There's a lot of people to thank because we're a big collaboration. So each of you plays such a role in making our program successful. I first want to thank our drivers, transportation coordinators, and volunteers. I see a lot of you here today, and you are the backbone of our program. You give so much of your time to make these programs work, and your daily hard work is evident in our success. Thanks for keeping these programs running. We really can't show enough gratitude. I'd like to thank our partner driving organizations, which are mostly nonprofits. So I'll read the list in no particular order, but I think it's fun to hear how diverse our coalition is. That's one of our strengths. So At Home Alexandria, Mount Vernon at Home, Shepherd Center Western Fairfax, Shepherd Center McLean Arlington Falls Church, Shepherd Center Nova, Shepherd Center Annandale Springfield, Shepherd Center Fairfax Burke and South County, Dar al Hijra Mosque, Temple Road of Shalom, Agudas Achim, J Rides at the JCC, Reston Community Center, Volunteer Prince William, Loudon Volunteer Caregivers, Fairfax Village in the City, and Herndon Village Network. That's everybody, that's all 16. Your organizations directly provide service to seniors, and your knowledge of your community allows us to customize our programs. Next, I want to thank the Commonwealth Council on Aging, Jennifer Desano, Marcia Dubois, Diana Paguagua, and Charlotte Arbogast for recognizing our program and elevating our success at the Commonwealth level. We're so proud of our Northern Virginia community, and we want to thank you for sharing our success. We love to see volunteer transportation grow, and this is really a grassroots movement I've learned since working here, so we'd love to share this with other communities, and I hope that this award is part of seeding that in places that also need this. I think everywhere needs it, is what I've learned. Funny story, when we relaunched our website, we accidentally got listed as Nevada, and I got so many calls from Nevada. People were like, we're so glad this is here in Nevada. And so it just showed like how pretty much anybody who hears about this is enamored and wants to participate. But we're now back in Northern Virginia. We want to thank Dominion Power for funding this award and acknowledging the importance of programs for seniors. I want to thank our funders and supporters, Fairfax County Human Services Transportation, MJ Hensler, Glenn Padaway, and Cynthia Alarico for championing our work at the county level. Thank you for seeing our potential and advocating for us. Thanks to the Long-Term Care Coordinating Council from Fairfax County, Patricia Rohrer for helping start this program, and Susan Zellman for continuing to support us. We want to thank the Jewish Council on Aging, Shane Rock, their CEO, Sarah Fott, who's here, and then Christina Lemos and Retta Vinson with Village Rides, who are my sounding board and answer probably 5 emails a week at a minimum. And Tiffany Lamb on their finance side for your support, vision, and answering dozens of questions to keep our program running. Thanks to the Pozes Jewish Community Center, Executive Director Jeff Danick, who saw the potential, Michelle Perlstein, who's here, and our finance wizard, Yvonne Fujimoto, who works with our insurance, Laura Adler, who works with PR and advertising, our wonderful and supportive JCC board members and directors, leadership, everyone for seeing our potential. Thanks to our advisory council for your guidance, your networking that you have done for me and with me, and your generous gift of your expertise. Nancy Fiedelman, Mike Perrell, Diana Katz, Shane Rock, Robin Edwards, Jeff Danick, Michelle Perlstein, Laura Adler, Tom Eversole, and Amy Brinko, and you help us grow and innovate, so thank you. Thank you to my predecessors for creating an incredibly well-run program. Jennifer Kanarick, who ran the program from inception in 2014 until 2021. Huge thank you. She's amazing. Rachel Simon, who is not here, but she did marketing and community outreach, and her name comes up all the time still when I mention this program. Tom Eversole, who regrets that he couldn't be here today, but he was interim manager in 2021 and has provided a lot of mentorship to me. I want to thank Julie, who runs J Rides, helps me with Envy Rides, answers our very large volume of phone calls and emails and requests for rides at midnight. And she's a jack of all trades in keeping this going and provides a lot of customer service. On a personal note, I want to thank my parents. My mom is here, and my husband. They Some of you may know, I have 10-month-old twins and a 3-year-old who is somewhere in this building. He was not invited today, but I could not do this job without their unwavering support and many hours of childcare above and beyond the paid childcare we have. And they all work full-time, including West Coast hours, but they always come through to let me continue this job and passion project. And thank you, everyone who came today. You show that when we come together for a cause, we can have a huge impact. We have one goal, which is for seniors to age in place, and we're doing it in a lot of different communities in different ways, and I love that we're all here together. Thanks for your generous support, and enjoy. Thank you.
Our volunteer drivers are more than just drivers.
MV Rides makes it so I do not have to depend on friends or family. I can be independent.
So you really do form friendships with the people you're supporting. So it's not just a client-driver relationship.
They are my guardian angels.
NB Rides was initiated in 2014, and it was a response to a growing concern for seniors in Fairfax County who wished to age in place but faced not a lot of options for transportation if they were no longer driving. To help non-driving seniors get to their medical appointments or get to the grocery store to access food. And there were many volunteer driver organizations that were operating within the region. However, they did not have a lot of coordination between each group, and the idea was to create a coordinated hub for these types of programs.
NV Rides is our mothership. They help us with DMV checks and criminal background. They pay for each driver to get that background check. They set up guidelines that we should be aware of, like having insurance for our secondary insurance.
NV Rides provide the software support for us. They provide marketing support for us. They help us recruit new drivers, and they look for opportunities for us to serve more. So it works both ways, but they are very supportive of us, and we appreciate it.
Oh, Ride Scheduler is wonderful, and I hear from volunteers all the time that they love it too. I think it's great when I am able to offer a new potential volunteer driver the luxury of choosing a month out. If they were to go on vacation, they can now look in the Ride Scheduler and see, I really want to help somebody the week of September 1st. It's a really easy platform to use.
We go out to lunch and we have a wonderful lunch, a conversation, and that takes away a lot of that loneliness that I might have by not having anybody around. They're always on time, very dependable. I don't have to worry. They take the stress out of me of worrying.
I retired from my medical practice about 4 years ago. Unfortunately, I had to take away the licenses of some of my patients because they were unable to drive for medical or physical reasons. And so I knew that that would be a very important thing for me to do. I've been a volunteer driver for about 4 years now.
It's been a lot of fun, and it's rewarding after you've done something nice for someone and they appreciate it.
I have developed great friendships and have gotten the independence that I desire.
You know that you're doing good for people, that they need the support, and you know that they appreciate what you do. So you feel appreciated as well as satisfied that you're contributing to the good of the world.
They give it from their heart, and they feel like they're brothers and sisters and mothers and dads to me.